If it is or if it ain't, it's gonna come out. Good morning, everybody. It's your girl, Miracle Sims, and you are listening to God, Sex, and Love. Your daily dose of inspiration, the juice. It is July the 24th, 2023, and today the topic is Life Without Jesus. First, I want to acknowledge y'all that your girl is recording rather early this morning. I've been up ever since whatever time. Sometime last night, I woke up maybe around 11, 12. I don't know. 1, I don't know. I woke up early, basically, and I've been up ever since then, flowing with ideas and all kinds of things like that. And I am recording around like 5. 5:09 is what I'm looking at on my clock at the moment. So yeah, your girl's out here, getting the juice out here early today. Shout out to the person watching live. Definitely don't be expecting nobody to be up with me. So shout out to you. But yeah, your girl is early this morning. I hope y'all had a wonderful weekend. Mine was just fine. I did everything I set out to do over the weekend. Y'all know that I did an event on Saturday. It was outdoor, but it was just fine. I know it was kind of rainy Friday night and even Saturday morning, but it was clear. It was nice, clear. Wasn't too hot or anything like that. I named my character Sister Ella May. And I went to go and be the MC and host for the grand opening ribbon cutting event that was happening in my hometown of Jackson. The lovely Pastor Robbins and her team was opening up what they call the New Dimensions Prayer Tower, walking trail, retreat, and so much more. So it was nice. It was nice to go and assist them with that. And it was nice to see my good friend, Miss Maria. She was the contact that let them know about me. So shout out to my home girl. Keep her family in prayer as well if y'all can. Pray with me. I won't get into details and whatnot, but just pray for her and her family in this time as well. And it's just amazing, man, that like even when someone can be going through a tough time, right, that they are still able to be there for others and everything. She was there working, helping out, and just really, being a good servant, right? Serving at that opening and whatnot. And so that's amazing. So yeah, just keep her in prayer and her family if you can and will. Sunday, y'all. So Sunday for me, I went to church, you know what I'm saying? I was working, obviously. Worked the first 2 services and I went and sat in the third. And by the grace of God, like the Lord there's a few things, man. There was quite a few things that happened yesterday. So first of all, the old pastor visited, the former pastor of Mountain West. He was speaking yesterday, and for those that don't know, I guess what's going on behind the scenes is that him and his family have gone to the Philippines to, I guess, plant churches and do things of that nature. So I guess they was in town yesterday or whatever. And so they, so the pastor was speaking. He did very good. Like I know my mother-in-law, she just loves him and everything like that. And don't get me wrong, like I enjoy Pastor Mo as well. I do feel like more of a connection to the church now. And whatnot, but I enjoyed his message yesterday. I felt like it was right on time, some things I needed to hear, and it was nice. It was nice to hear a message from him again, Pastor Michael. So that was one thing. Of course, I saw my mother-in-law and my father-in-law yesterday as well. Because, like I said, she just loves him. And when I found out he was coming, I made sure to tell her what date he was supposed to be there and stuff. So, just in case she didn't, see it or whatever. So she was there. She was like, I got a hug and everything. She had texted me that, and I didn't realize that. I don't know if she sat for two services or she came early. I don't know. But anyway. Turns out she was in the third service as well, and so I saw her. But I also saw Miss Terry. Y'all may remember I told y'all about Miss Terry a few weeks ago. We did an interview, which I believe is going to come out next Sunday, because that's what she tagged me in. With the lady with Radical Readers, where she came and visited the church yesterday, and apparently she had such a wonderful time that I know she posted on social media and tagged me that's saying that she believes that she found her new church home. So to God be the glory, man. It's just amazing that like the different things that happen in life where and how we're all connected and stuff. And I mean, and I thought about her yesterday morning. I didn't know she was gonna come to the church, but I thought about her because I'm still waiting for my book to be edited. Shout out to my team, you know what I'm saying? I'm still waiting for my next children's book or whatever. And so I thought about that, and we had talked about me collaborating on when the book comes out and stuff like that. So I was thinking about that, and I was talking to my husband about that, and that ultimately made me think about her. And then a few hours later, she's at the church, and again, she's had a wonderful experience, and she feels like she found a new church home. She's already thinking about getting into the missions work and whatnot. And so, man, you just never know, man. It's just amazing. Like, you could just be sharing your testimony, man. You could just be going to church, and or you could just, I mean, you could just be having a conversation with someone, and it could be a life changing thing. So, to God be the glory for being used in this season. I just, even this morning, when I did my prayer meditation, I just was thinking about all of that and just thanking God for being in this place and being used. Even though, I'm just one little human, right? Just like everybody else, right? And um, now I do feel like the Lord be downloading a plethora of ideas on me and things like that. Um, and I'm just crazy enough to be like, okay, let's do it. um, you know, but outside of that, it's just I don't know, y'all. I guess I'm just reflecting on a lot of things this morning. I'm just thankful. I'm thankful. I'm grateful, and yeah. So that was my weekend in a nutshell. Let's get into this conversation of life without Jesus. Cause listen, I don't know how y'all doing it out here. You know what I'm saying? Those that are living without Christ. Um, but yeah, so that's what I ultimately felt led to look into this morning. And the interesting thing is, as I went to openbible.info, I put life without Jesus. There's a few verses that stood out to me, but it wasn't really resonating. And then I ended up looking up life without God. And I would have put life without God as the title. But one, I want to be very intentional with saying Jesus, because we know when people say God, that can mean anything. Okay. Um, and I do believe that God is Jesus and Jesus is God. So, and I think the best way, even what came into my heart and mind today, was the best way to explain that is God chose Jesus to reveal himself to us. Um, I don't know. I don't think Pastor Michael said that. I feel like I heard that recently as well. Probably when I listened to this video of Pastor David Lynn. He might have said something like that to someone. But yeah, that's the best way to explain that outside of obviously the understanding is that God can't be seen by, I guess, the natural eye, and therefore he chose Jesus to come through and show himself to us, and everything like that. Again, y'all can go deeper about that on your own and whatnot. You guys can, reflect on those things and let them marinate on your heart, souls, and minds. But let's talk about, I guess, what it looks like to live a life without Jesus. There's plenty of us that are doing that. Plenty. And I was one, right? I was one. I hope and pray that, I'm living this Jesus-filled life today, but, there was a time, right, that I too was living without the Lord, and thinking that, life was just life, and, you know, just thinking things is normal or whatever the case is. But I am a living testimony of what that's like to go through life and then you feel like something is missing, something, is not right, and everything like that. And I don't feel that anymore, and I would say that that's because of Jesus Christ. Now, I know people may struggle with that or whatever the case is, and people may doubt that or whatever, but I'm not the only one. And that's the amazing thing as well. Like, I feel like there's a lot of people with this testimony. Even as I was studying this morning, a lot of the things that I was reading was resonating with me. And I was like, this is crazy that this is my testimony on a page. You know what I mean? Like, I'm looking at gotquestions.org and I'm reading a couple of articles, and it sounds exactly what my life looked like. I was going through life, feeling like something was missing, kept trying to fill it with this, fill it with that, trying to date, trying to get, trying to fill the void, thinking that, okay, well, maybe it's this then, or maybe it's that. And then next thing I know, I'm starting to seek the Lord more and being like, okay, well, if it ain't none of that, then what is it? And then ultimately now that I see, now I see that I was missing the relationship with the Lord. So let's get into it, y'all. I started to go deeper this morning, right? And when this concept of life without Jesus came into my heart and mind, and I did feel led to look up the definition of life, because at some point, I'm reading and stuff. Because okay, so this is what happened. I looked up the verses, like I told y'all before, they weren't resonating. So then I had already found one of the articles on gotquestions.org that I felt led to share with you guys. But I had kind of paused on reading that because I was like, well, let me get some verses, And so then I was like, well, let me look up the definition of life, because maybe let's just see, right? And so I looked up the definition of life, and that was not resonating with me. But what stood out to me when I looked up that definition was the word existence. And so I did write down the definition for that. And it says, the fact of living or having objective reality. Now, there's a few things there already, y'all. Listen, I don't know if y'all noticing that, but people are struggling even with that. People are struggling with the idea of, do they exist? You can sit here and be talking to someone like, I've seen these conversations again. Pastor David Lynn is a great example, because he's out there in the streets all the time and he's talking to people. So, he'll have a question, he'll ask the person the question in reference to what they're asking, right? And he's like, well, you exist, don't you? And then the person's like, well, I don't know. And you're like, what do you mean? You're like, we're both sitting here talking right now, and you're struggling with the concept of whether you exist or not. That's how confusing it can be, right? Living this life without Jesus. Y'all might not agree, but again, we can see this all around us, y'all. Like, people don't know their purpose. People don't know their genders. People don't know who, like, they don't know anything. It's like everything is up in the air without Jesus. Like, again, you may not agree, but you just see people, like, you see the fruits of it all around us. Like, no shade, you know what I'm saying? Not trying to, poke fun or anything like that. I'm just saying, you see that example all around us. We struggle with whether we exist. We struggle with if we are loved. We struggle with who we are. Like, all of these things are questions without God. And so, and I say without Jesus, because again, we got to be clear. So I went deeper. So I ended up, I felt led to just focus on the article. And so I went back to the article, and the one that I came across again is at gotquestions.org. And it says, can man live without God? Short answer, no. Or short answer, yes and no, right? And then we're going to get deeper about that in a second. But the first few lines of this article pretty much talks about, like, how this is just like saying, can a clock exist without the clock maker? Or can a story exist without the author? Or things of that nature. And it's like, again, I don't know what scenario we need to put into our hearts and minds to understand that, life without God is just not possible. At least according to what I'm studying and what I've gone through in life, right? And and I think the part that confuses us to think that we can possibly live without God is because we physically, right, can live without God in this season, right? And so as I was going through the article, there just was a lot of moments where I felt like they were just mic drop moments and things that really stood out to me this morning. And so I felt led to share the things that stood out to me this morning. Now, I only got one verse that's in the supporting verses section, but when you guys read the articles, which I hope y'all do, when y'all read the articles that I put in the Go Deeper section, then y'all can look at the verses that are in those. But I'm going to share with you guys the things that stood out to me the most as I was reading specifically the first article. Can man live without God? So the first moment for me that really just stood out, that I was like, ooh, that's good, was this right here. It says, without God, man has physical life only. That's what I was saying earlier. This is why I feel like we struggle, because we think we can live without God. And so if we don't acknowledge God, we still live X, Y, and Z. That's physical life only. And here's another thing that stood out to me in that section that was talking about that. It said Adam and Eve died spiritually. That right there speaks volumes to what happened, right? Because God told them that they would die. But then you see that their life went on, right? When you read the Bible. So you think, well, they didn't die, right? The snake was right. They didn't die. But no, they did die. They spiritually died. And a lot of us are spiritually dead. A lot of us are spiritually dead. And the interesting thing about that is, I had, there were some dreams that I had that this conversation is reminding me of, and I went back to go and look at what I had written about the dreams that I had or whatever. And then there was a certain person that came into my heart and mind this morning as well. So I just hit them up like, hey, thinking about you. Hope all is well. But regardless of all that, right? I guess I understood that on another level today. You know what I mean? It's like, so the difference again between being physically alive and spiritually alive, and then just being physically alive and spiritually dead. Again, there's plenty of things that, attest to this. But like I said, it just really stood out to me this morning to understand that. So yeah, Adam and Eve, they continue to live physically, but there's something that died within them. Obviously something that died and separated them from God, the community or communion, right, that they had with the Lord and things of that nature. They spiritually died. We're going to go deeper about something else that just came into my mind, but I think we'll go deeper in a second about that. So the next thing that stood out to me as I was reading the article was this quote right here. It says, worldly pleasure is unsustainable. Worldly pleasure is unsustainable. Obviously, Solomon, the wisest man, I guess, in that time, right? Had all these things to say about, his pursuits, right? He pursued all forms of pleasure, and he realized that it all was vanity. Who else can say that they have that testimony? I probably haven't, tried to do all the things, right? But there was a lot of seeking that I did, right? There was a lot of again, like I told y'all earlier, trying to fill voids, that empty void with this and that and all the things. And then ultimately realizing that none of that stuff fulfilled me. None of that stuff sustained me. None of that stuff made me feel whole. even with the things that I felt like I wanted and all that, I still felt empty and whatnot, and feeling like something ain't right, you know? And then here I am today, right? In a completely different scenario, you know? There might be a lot of unknowns, right? There might be a lot of things that like I may not fully even understand sometimes, but I feel the most fulfilled I've ever felt in life. And why is that? You know, all I can say is it's Jesus. Now, other people might, again, you might not agree, but you can't tell me about my life and my testimony. And that's the beautiful thing as well about um, each and every one of us, right? At the end of the day, no one can take away your experience. And I know, right? I know how I felt when I was alone in my apartment, you know, seemingly having majority of what I wanted in life and feeling like didn't have, you know, this or that, you know, and emptily pursuing this and that, you know, and everything like that. Even as I was getting wisdom and whatnot in that season, yes, the cultivation period, as I was getting wisdom and whatnot, I still was missing a thing or two, right? And after a while, you know, y'all know a little bit about my testimony, I believe, but even after that, I still went through things. I still learned things, and that's the thing too. I'm still learning, right? I'm still growing. Just because I went through one cultivation period and got some wisdom about being single and whatnot, don't mean that like as long as I'm still alive, there's more to learn. There's more to do, right? Even this morning was showing me a testament of that because I'm like, with all the things that God was downloading in my heart and mind, ideas for movies, ideas for music, ideas for, you know, it's like obviously there's a lot to do, right? And who knows, maybe I might not be the one to do it all, right? Now, prayerfully, you know, if I don't know. I mean, if you know, I believe that I will prayerfully, by the grace of God, be able to do the things that He wants me to do, and hopefully fulfill my purpose and whatnot on earth and everything like that. Um, but that's a whole nother conversation. Let's keep talking about what we're talking about. But yeah, worldly pleasure is insustainable. At the end of the day, um, we see this again. A lot of the rich people in the world are committing suicide. You know what I mean? A lot of the ones that have all the this and all the that are still not happy, right? You know, they don't have, again, the joy, love, peace that we as believers have. Now, again, there, you know, that's a whole nother thing as well, a whole nother conversation. Not sitting here trying to act like everything is perfect and peaches and creams. I still go through ups and downs in life too. You know what I mean? We all do. But the thing is, we look at it differently as believers. Again, we can have hope, joy, peace, love, and all that stuff through the issues of life. And so, at least that's what I've come to find. You know, that's what I've come to find. And so let's keep going. Here's another thing that stood out to me this morning, y'all. Let's see. As I was reading that article, it says, man is not at peace with his fellow man because he is not at peace with himself. Ooh, I felt like that was another mic drop moment this morning, y'all. We can't find peace with one another because we're not at peace with ourselves. And it went on to say, after that, I didn't write it down, but it went on to say that, and we're not at peace with ourselves because we're not at peace with the Lord. Now, I don't know, you know what I'm saying, like about anybody else, but again, I felt like I was reading my life this morning as I read that article, because I can clearly tell you guys, like, I felt these things, like this is what my life looked like, you know. I was not at peace, and everything like that. Now, I don't feel like I've had too many issues with people, you know. I had some issues, but not like to where, I mean, who knows? Who knows? I don't know. Anyway, I don't feel like I've had too many issues, but I know definitely when it comes to the peace with myself. Like, I was not at peace with myself. And then, again, I believe that that's because I was not at peace with the Lord, ultimately. There was a God-shaped hole And the interesting thing is, again, on GodQuestions.org, there's another article that I put in the Go Deeper section for you all, again, to peruse and let marinate on your heart, souls, and mind. And that one is called, Does Everyone Have a God-Shaped Hole? I believe we do. I believe we all do. Unfortunately, I guess we all don't acknowledge it. And so that's part of our problem. Or we know it's there, but then we don't want to fill it with the God of the Bible, right? We rather fill it with everything else and call it anything else but Jesus and the God of the Bible, right? For whatever reason, I guess we should ask ourselves, why is that? Like, why is there so much pushback against this particular God, right? But then when it comes to any God, there's all kinds of ideas for God and whatnot out here. But I just don't see the push. Now, y'all can correct me if I'm wrong. I mean, I know people, I do hear things about the Muslim faith. People take issue with things when it comes to the Muslim faith. But outside of that, what other faith do you hear the pushback for? I mean, I'll wait. Y'all can comment below, whatever the case is. I'll see it and stuff. I just don't see it. And so, again, when it comes to the God of the Bible, what I'm saying is, yeah, I do believe that we all have this God-shaped hole that we, again, unfortunately, a lot of us try to fill with other things. But, I guess, again, these aren't verses, but these are the things that were standing out to me as I was reading the article. And so the last quote that was in the article that stood out to me says, there is more to life than the physical dimension. So I think we understand that there's more to life than the physical dimension. But then I don't think we fully understand that, right? And I don't think we fully acknowledge that sometimes. And like, I think we know that in the back of our minds, right? Majority of us. But yeah, like, for some reason, it's like, maybe we just don't think it's a big deal. Again, those that have gone before us, they know. And unfortunately, they can't come back to tell us or anything like that, or try to warn us further than those that are currently on earth trying to warn us. But, or that God himself warned us of, and things of that nature. So, I don't know. You guys can go deeper with all of these things. You may be wondering, like, Miracle, you done said all this juice, but you ain't say no Bible today. So I'm gonna give y'all one Bible verse, and then I'm gonna give you the Bible verse of the day as well. One Bible verse that kind of coincides with this conversation, and I kind of looked at it a little bit differently today based on that article that I read. It went a little deeper about it in a way that it made me look at it a little different. But it's John 14:6, and it says, Jesus said to him, I am the way and the truth and the life. None comes to the Father except through me. This is, like, again, one of the most controversial statements, ever, really. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is what makes Jesus different from anything else. Like, I can't sit here and say I've studied all the things, right? But I can say that I've at least looked into different things. And I believe even Pastor Lynn was saying the other day when on the video that I was watching, he was saying that, there's a lot of religions that refer to Jesus, right? And things of that nature. However, the thing is, if you look into it, Jesus said this of himself. And I guess therein lies the difference, y'all. At the end of the day, you guys can seek and you will find, you know what I'm saying? If it's truly, your heart desire to know truth and things of that nature. He says that I am the way. He said he is the truth. He says he is the life. And that part about the life, if I, not trying to take away from the Bible, but to try to help understand the way I was looking at it differently, that article was talking about the life, but it kind of took away the word the. So it was saying that Jesus is life, and everything like that. You guys can go deeper with all of this and peruse these things, let them marinate on your heart, souls, and minds. But this ultimately, the juice this morning is that you can physically live without Jesus. but not spiritually. And I guess that's the juice. That's the juice. Now listen, the Bible verse of today is Psalm 119 and 105. It says, "Thy word is a lamp unto my feet and a light unto my path." Friends, I hope you all enjoyed this juice this morning. Thank you so much for listening to God, Sex, and Love, your daily dose of inspiration, the juice. I pray you guys can go forth and have a wonderful day, and I look forward to talking to you all tomorrow, if the Lord's will. Bye-bye. Did you know that you can support us for just 99 cents a month? That's right, friends. You can support everything that we do here at GSL for just 99 cents a month. Take a look around wherever this post is. You might see a link or maybe even a button that says support. Go there, check out the options, consider supporting us because, we enjoy bringing you all the daily inspiration as well as the weekly talk show, but we have much, much more to come. Thank you so much for the consideration. Bye-bye.